Do not be afraid, only believe. Fear and faith are positioned as opposites. Jesus worked to immediately calm emotions when the word of death was spoken. It says, as soon as Jesus heard, like as soon as he heard these words, your daughter is dead. As soon as Jesus heard the word that was spoken, like there was no delay whatsoever. As soon as these words came off of this guy's lips, immediately he said, do not be afraid. And so he's trying to calm emotions down because, if you lay hold of the reality that somebody's dead, then you're going to enter into fear, worry, sorrow, despair, all those things, and then you're certainly not going to have the victory. So Jesus calmed everybody down. Do not be afraid, only believe. Fear and faith are positioned as opposites. Do not be afraid, only believe. Fear is faith in the devil and his outcome. Good faith, positive faith, is faith in God, believing for good things. And so Jesus is trying to get people to not exit from the place of faith. Okay, then the third thing is we saw that Jesus was controlling the environment by limiting the followers to those that were in faith, where it says in verse 37, it says, and he permitted no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, right? So he took people that he knew that were in faith, that had been part of his ministry, and he didn't let anybody else come with him. Okay, then he was controlling the environment when he kicked out the ridiculers. So over here in verse 40, it says, and they ridiculed him, but when he had put them all outside. Okay, so he tries to separate himself as much as possible from people that are mocking or doubting or anything like that, right? So he's controlling the environment, trying to make it as faith-friendly as possible. And number 4, he converted the giant into a grasshopper, the giant being death. He converted it into a grasshopper with the words he was speaking. She's not dead, she's sleeping. Right? So Jesus is always trying to minimize the problem with his speech. He's always trying to take that giant and make it into the little grasshopper instead of the other way around. And then finally, he operated in faith and authority to command life, and that finally brought forth the victory.